The old are we on?
That'll never get old for me.
Right?
Ever.
Are we on?
Yeah. I love how I look at it and you're just looking at your phone and shit.
Cause I always have.
But you're watching yourself look at your phone too.
You watch me look at myself.
I'm watching you look at yourself, yes. Hello to those of you who are already here. Martin and Hooter, and we're about to connect Gina Brillon for our for this week's episode of Love Without Borders. Last week there was a lot of stuff going on, so we missed the episode. Sorry if you tuned in last week, but we're back this week. Here we are. Lots going on, lots of relationship stuff going on that we're going to get to. So, yeah, we're just waiting for Gina Brillon. Hooter, say hello, Hooter.
What's up, y'all?
Hooter's over here.
Oh, shit. Gina's on?
Yes.
What up, Gina?
Yo.
Yo.
And Hooter, that was the secret message to the viewers to also tune in for yo. See how that's product placement at its best.
That's right. Yo podcast on Monday nights. How you doing, Gina?
I'm good. I am good. I am gearing up for my next trip. I'm getting on another ship.
Dude, you were on a ship last week. How did that go?
I know. It was good. Okay, let me be honest. It wasn't great audience-wise for me because the audience on a cruise ship is kind of like a very specific type. So I had my struggles. Because, you know, comic, like, they want certain type of material. And if you don't adhere to what the passengers want, it's a little, like, sort of, like, war with them of, like, trust me, you're going to like this, even though it's not the stuff that you're used to. It's like that back and forth of, like, you're pulling teeth in the beginning, and then they come along, and then you get off stage, and you're like, well, I wish they would have just been on board the whole way through, you know. But for the most part, it's cool. Love the staff of the ship, so I'm excited to go back, and we'll see what these cruisers can bring. You know.
Where were you? What ocean were you at, or what countries or ports or wherever?
I was like, child, don't ask me the ocean. I have no idea. We went to the Bahamas. I know.
Oh, nice. All right.
So we basically went to the Bahamas and ported in Baltimore, and I got to surprise my parents because they didn't know that we were going to stop in Baltimore because that's their port of origin. They start in Baltimore and then they go to the Bahamas and Florida and all that. It's a very weird run, but I got to surprise Mom and Pop Dukes, which was nice to see them.
Fantastic.
Shout out to Pop Dukes.
Big shout out to Jeremy.
Yeah,
Mr. and Mrs. Jeremy, Gina Brillon.
Are you guys still happy? Or
we're like so ridiculously happy, and we are like doing married people stuff all the time. Oh yeah, Hooter. Oh yeah. You can't see me dry humping this bed, but it's happening.
Here we go, dude. How long has it been? It hasn't even been 5 minutes yet.
Aww.
Um,
I saw somebody give me a nice shout out. What is your name? It literally looks like Bowie Carlos. Bowie.
Carlos Bowie.
That's Carlos Bowie, girl.
That's Carlos Bowie. Thank
Carlos
you for the
Bowie.
love.
What up, everybody in the Bay Area? You know what? Everybody's sending us some love. What's up, guys?
What's up, everybody? Saying hi. Melissa,
hello.
Child, that baby ain't anytime soon.
So there's so much going on, Gina.
Oh, this has been like, it's crazy what's going on now in the comedy community and everything. And I've had so many discussions about this, and I can't wait to hear what you guys are bringing to the table right now on this. Except for Hooter, I kind of know where he's at.
So we thought, listen, we always we talk about relationships. We bring our point on our perspective every week on people's questions and things like that. This week we decided to open up a discussion, and everybody that's tuned in and watching, please feel free to comment. We would really appreciate your input as well because it adds so much to the conversation. But we wanted to touch on today, and I don't know if that's the right word to say, touch on, but consent is a big issue again, and it should be. There should be no gray area when it comes to consent, I feel. And it got revisited again just very recently with these, they're not allegations because he has since apologized, but a very, very famous and very funny, talented, influential comedian, Louis C.K., who years ago at a comedy festival, and this is where the consent thing is super important. He asked if it was okay to take out his penis and masturbate. Now, at that point, he assumed because I asked, nobody told me no, that implies yes.
But it was in front of, what, 3 chicks?
Was it 2 women?
2, 3?
I don't know if it was on an individual basis. 5 women came out against him, but I don't know if, like, I know 2 were in the room together. I know 1 was by herself. I don't know if the others were like together or whatever. I know that like 5 women have come out against him, and I feel for them. I really do. But I also, and this is going to sound so weird and people will probably get really mad that I say this, I also feel for him because I feel like in a way he's come out and said, look, I did this. I am ashamed of my actions. I'm not proud of what I did. I assumed consent, even though I knew I was in a position of power to make them feel a certain way of if they say no, are their careers going to be threatened? He may not have made that as a direct threat, but he understood now in retrospect that that was implied. And I feel
I think that that's important, the retrospect, because in the moment, I'm pretty sure that he assumed it was okay. And there's so many things that as men, we do that we just assume is 100% okay. Well, I asked, they said, oh, they didn't say no. And we just go forward with it. And it was really, especially for somebody like myself, somebody like Hudo and all men, it should be a wake-up call to all men that it needs to be clear. It needs to be 100% clear. There should be no freaking doubt. And
especially if you're in a position like he was, where it's like, especially being a comic, you're higher up on the food chain. If this girl goes with you, and comics hang out in each other's rooms, we go to each other's houses, this happens all the time. So it's never like, oh, well, why did she go to his room? Why did she go to his house? We hang out with each other constantly in our private places. So it's like, it's not like it's weird that happened. But the fact is, he thought by asking permission he was okay, not really realizing that these girls already felt pressured to be around him because of his position in the business. Now, where I feel really bad for him is that he has 2 daughters that at some point he's gonna have to sit down with them, if he hasn't already sat down with them, and explain what's going on.
That's gonna be a tough conversation, man, because you want to teach your daughters to do the right thing, or to empower them to not necessarily do the right thing, to just be able to stand up for themselves and say, this is okay, this is not okay, this is okay, this is not okay. And I'm again, not to defend the dude, but I feel for him as well, Gina. I feel for him because I really feel that at the moment he didn't realize he was doing something wrong. And if he did, maybe I'm wrong and I'm naive.
Well, one, he asked.
What?
Get that out of the way.
He did, and here's what I want everybody to know, because one guy was like, well, some guy just commented, what did they do to get him to that point? The issue isn't that they did anything to get him to that point. They were just asked. They were in a room with him, chilling like normal, and he asked them, this is a fetish of his or something that turns him on. And he asked if he had their permission to do it. Now, I'm not saying, he went about it the best way you possibly could go about asking for something like this. This is like, hey, this is like my thing. Can I do this? Is it going to freak you out? And if your answer is no and you leave, like, it's like, no, bye. It's not like he forced anybody to stay there. Like, that's not the case. These women just felt if they left the room or said no in any way, they felt like their careers would be affected, even though he never said that. In his defense, he never made threats.
It's not like, because he's in the position of he's successful. That's not, the way you feel, whether you say yes or no, I mean, yeah, I feel like you can't pin that on him. And two, they were all over 18, and you can't really, like, I don't know what there is to get mad at here, to be honest.
I think abusing the position of power is what it is.
How?
I think because it's the implication of like, okay, I've had headliners hit on me. I've had headliners speak inappropriate to me. And there were times when out of fear, I didn't go off and I didn't say anything, because if I go off on you, all I need is for you, a headliner, to speak to the booker of a club that I was working at. And the next thing I know, you don't want me working there and I'm out of that club. And so
that's a whole different perspective as well. I never even thought of it like that, Gina.
You were caught in a position of, you know, do I allow myself to be disrespected momentarily for the sake of my career?
Let's take one of these comments here. Mario Cruz says, "What's worse, grabbing by the," and he does a very graphic word, says by the panocha, which means the vagina, or jacking off in front of a girl. And what the reference is to Trump's comment of grab them by, which, so what is worse? First of all, Mario, both of them are wrong.
But wait, I want to know why it's wrong.
Well,
why is Louis C.K. wrong? For one, he's asking. Look, It's not like if they're out in public. He was in his hotel room. They're over 18. He said, hey, this is what I do, and I'm about to do it. Everyone has a choice right then and there. He didn't say...
I think the issue is not that we're mad that he asked. The issue is that he really secretly, everybody is mad at the fact that it's like, dude, you knew the position you were in.
Who could say no?
There's a part of you that knew. The girls that said yes were probably not really comfortable with the situation, but said yes because of who you are. And to not admit that to yourself is straight up lying to yourself. To not say that I knew the position I was in, I knew these people looked up to me, and the reason why they probably didn't walk out the room was because they felt pressured.
So what? With that said, Gina, I'm gonna just get address Hooter and what you're saying as well. We really need to redefine how we interpret consent, because the way Hooter is saying it, there's a lot of men out there who are saying the same thing.
Hooter's not wrong. Hooter's not wrong.
What they're saying is, wait a minute. He asked, nobody said no. So what is the freaking problem? Now, the problem is that they were probably, even though he asked, they probably felt where they had no choice but to say yes and be exposed to that, because the alternative would have had the repercussions of, I'm gonna get blacklisted. I'm gonna say they're gonna say I'm difficult. They're gonna say I'm stiff. They're gonna say I'm got all these puritanical virtues. They're gonna say this. They're gonna say that. No, hold on. Okay. And when you are in that position, like you said, it's the same thing that you said. You've worked with headliners who have made inappropriate comments, but because of the bigger picture, you have sat there and taken it, just like these women sat there and took it, even though you didn't want to. So it's really along the same lines. So again, it's when consent needs to be completely, there shouldn't be a question. I think that if you have to ask, chances are it's probably not a good idea.
Yeah, if you have to ask and the situation isn't presenting itself in a comfortable way for two grown people, and you have to ask permission or ask if this is consentful, you can go ahead and assume that, it's probably not, and somebody's feeling uncomfortable if you're putting them in that position. Because if it naturally flows that way with two grown people, and yes, and I would honestly advise guys, and this is coming from a very sincere point of view, to be very careful with a lot of the women that they're taking home, because you never know who's going to flip a story on you or make you look bad. And you have to cover yourself. I'm sorry, but you have to cover yourself as a man, because
absolutely.
I'm waiting on who. Oh, I see him pausing.
Okay. I got a question. So now, if these chicks weren't in the comedy industry, we wouldn't be having this conversation right now?
Oh, no. If he was good looking, we wouldn't be having this conversation right now.
Now that's not fair either.
I have had this conversation with my girlfriends, and I said, be honest. If he was a hot guy who did this, would we be having this conversation? Or is it because he's an average looking dude, you know, he's a regular looking dude who did this thing? And honestly, and somebody made this comment, Tina made this comment, he was probably trying to cover the bases and it backfired. I think it absolutely backfired. He was probably trying to be as careful as he thought he could be, and it backfired on him.
So, okay, so because he's in a position of power, because he's a comedian, and there were comics in that room, if they weren't comics,
I don't know. I you know.
Well, if he was still a famous comic,
because they were in the industry, it changes the dynamics of the whole thing.
It does, but even if it was a fan, it's still like there's still a starstruck aspect of it. Like it would only be a different situation if he wasn't famous at all. We'd never even hear about this if he wasn't famous at all.
So no, Gina, now we're going into a whole nother can of worms, because how many celebrities have screwed their fans?
Oh yeah.
And they use their celebrity status. I mean, how many guys show up at a bar talking about I'm on such and such a movie trying to get laid? I mean, that's their ticket to get laid for most of these guys. A lot of these guys wouldn't get laid if they weren't in a movie or they weren't in a position of power. So, I mean, in that case, the whole planet is guilty of inappropriate behavior.
I mean, if you're putting it that way, it opens up a bigger issue when you look at it that way, because it is always going to come down to power. If somebody has some sort of power or authority over you, or you're starstruck or whatever, it changes the game, because you never know now how somebody's going to feel pressured. If you're with your absolute favorite celebrity and all of a sudden it seems like they're hitting on you, whether you might want to be in that situation or not won't matter, because you're like, oh my God, my favorite celebrity is hitting on me, even though even though I'm like this, you know. People would die.
And there's some celebrities who probably feel, I'm hooking you up, I'm doing you a favor, I'm letting you be with me.
Like, dude, J-Lo.
Do you know how many people want to hook up with me, and I chose you? How many of those dudes are out there?
Flirts with me, dude.
You are ridiculous. Jennifer Lopez, if you are watching this, please do not even hit Hooter up. Do not slide in his DMs. Do not mess with him. Please.
All she needs to do is like one of my pictures. I'm in.
Well, that's it. It's over, bro. Nice. It's over. You're so dumb.
And that's the other thing, like text messages, you know, how many people have sent inappropriate text messages that could also constitute harassment?
How many times have we all sent a drunken text message that we wish we could take back the second right after we press send, where you make a mistake, you send something inappropriate or out of anger, like
we are all guilty. And just to touch back on what's his name that said that about Mario Cruz, you know, and I think what Mario Cruz brings up a good point. We are holding celebrities, comedians, people in entertainment, athletes way more accountable to people who are in positions of greater power, i.e. the President of the United States.
Yeah.
I have a problem with that. You know, when you ask me to behave in a certain manner, but the leader of the free world, the leader of the Christians, is making those kind of statements. Yeah. I mean, that just changes the game tremendously. I mean what point
look at how that was so quickly forgotten about. Those comments like that. And people, I mean, nothing was done about it, really. It was upsetting, and he still won. And it's still like, we're still okay with that kind of behavior. We're still okay with that. There's a large majority of the population that is okay with that kind of behavior, because that's to them, not a big deal. What does everybody say when you bring up that argument? There are bigger issues we should concentrate on. That's everybody.
Well, clearly there's not, because this is the focus of every time I log into Twitter, I look and see, oh, wow, who got taken down today?
Mm-hmm. It's really starting to the whole system is starting to implode, because once you get people comfortable coming out and telling their story and calling people out in Hollywood, which this has been a long time coming. There were so many stories that were brewing when the lead singer of when that guy committed suicide.
Yeah.
Linkin Park?
Yeah, the guy from Linkin Park. There were so many stories just swirling around about like pedophilia and in the industry and all this stuff and sexual assault and everything. And now
I don't think that that's unique to Hollywood and entertainment. I think it's a global issue that I think everybody has been both a victim and an offender in their own right.
Well, how so?
Well, I think that there's people that have been put in situations, for instance, like how many times have you said something or done something that could be considered inappropriate, or again, those text messages that you say you wish you could take back. I think we've all done that to one extent or another. If everybody came out and said, this is what this person said to me, this is what this person did to me, it's not just limited to entertainment. It legit is everywhere.
Well, what do you think of this? Apparently, I want to say Mario is saying that it's an excuse to blame the president, and he's got Randy agreeing with him that the president isn't raising your kids, you are. So how can you blame him for what he says? That's on you. And I get it, but you have to understand.
But I'm not talking about blaming anybody. Yeah, I'm just saying about holding people accountable.
Holding people accountable and understanding influence is what you really need to understand is the issue here. Understanding. Nobody's saying that celebrities should be.
If you're firing the Harveys and you're firing the CKs and you're firing the all these people that are losing their jobs, forget raising your kids. I'm talking about how do you like balance out this person gets to keep their job, yet this person gets fired?
Yeah.
That's my question. I mean, I'm not trying to blame the president for anything. I mean, I'm just saying nobody asked him to resign after that came out. As a matter of fact, they voted him in, so clearly they didn't have a problem with that. But people choose to have a problem with celebrities.
Yeah. Well, of course, it's always going to be celebrities because it's the double-edged sword of being, this icon, of being this person that kids will look up to.
A president is the biggest icon on the planet.
Exactly. So that's what I'm saying.
Way more than a celebrity.
We're not talking about the president raising your kids or hey, Cleto.
No.
Cleto's everybody. We're not talking about
what up,
raising your kids. We're talking about the influence that celebrities and people like the president have over young minds and over young people that see this behavior and think, oh, cool, it's okay to act like this. Oh, it's okay to use your position of power. I never remember in my life bullying being such an issue as it is now. And why? Because bullying is about power. Power over these people that you see that are weaker than you. And as soon as you start to abuse that power, and where do you think that leaks down from? It's a learned behavior.
Absolutely, yes.
We're talking learned behavior, whether it's from the parents or another influential figure. Is all I'm saying. Mic drop, son. Damn. Get it.
Okay, so
that's
now,
right.
So where do we go from here? You need chicks to sign waivers or dudes to sign waivers to make sure, or contracts?
That would be hilarious and the safest way to go about it. But hi,
hey, listen,
is that what needs to happen?
I'm gonna need you
know
to
what?
sign
I'll
this
tell you
waiver.
what. I know a comedian. I'm not going to mention his name because he's dating somebody, but he hooked up with somebody in Florida one time.
It's Hooter.
They went up to the room, and before they did anything, he busted out his phone, put it on video, and said, state your name, say that you're here willingly, and say that you're here because you want to be here, and I'm not forcing you to do anything. And she was laughing and she was saying it. And back then it was like, dude, you're crazy. And he's like, no, I'm a person of color. This is a white woman. How, I need to cover my ass because she could easily say I was raped. And that's now I got to prove that I didn't. So that's why I did this. And at the time, I thought you're a crazy paranoid person.
No way.
But
dude.
in retrospect, he was ahead of his time.
Hell yeah, he was.
I'd have been like, hold up today's paper, make sure there's a date on it. You are safe. You are here. Mariposas are. That's so funny. I agree with Melissa too. Melissa says, F all that. They had choices. Those girls had a right to walk out and say F you to that guy. That's true. They did have a choice. Nobody took their choice away. But for them, I kind of understand the fear. I was always the type of person that when I was put in those situations, I did say, you know, forget this and like walk away. And that may have hurt me. Who knows? But at that point, I was like, I'm not ready to go through this. I'd rather choose the harder path and fight the good fight than deal with this right now and be upset. Why are you laughing? Because I'm dropping knowledge.
Wait, are any of those chicks still doing comedy?
I think a couple of them are. Yeah, I think a couple of them are.
Yeah, you know, listen, man. I think that there's more and more and more and more, and I think it's going to be a learning opportunity for society as a whole. You know, things have changed, obviously, and we need to evolve with it. You know, there's a lot of dudes that are getting upset. And listen, Terry Crews just had that huge interview today. So it's men aren't the only aggressors here.
Yo, this is. By the way, shout out to Randy because this is hilarious. He said nothing turns girls on more than a nice legally signed agreement. Sorry, that's funny.
Yeah, right.
That's the biggest party starter. Do you have any papers I could sign? That makes me really excited.
You, but who could blame you at this time? I mean, if you break that shit out right now, people will be like, hey, you know what? I get it. It shouldn't be a deal breaker. It should be a like, yeah, all right, this is good.
If it is a deal breaker, great.
Yeah.
That way I know.
Yeah, exactly. At least I know that that's a deal breaker and I can say bye to you and whatever.
Yeah, and like I said, I think it's a relearning. It's going to be a relearning for both men and women. Mostly men because we've been, I should say, in a position of power. And it doesn't even necessarily have to be a rich, powerful, influential man. You've got broke dudes who still walk around saying, yo soy el hombre, yo mando. Like, I'm the dude and what I say goes. And that doesn't, isn't held back by class or financial security or stability. It's just an inbred, taught thing that the man is superior and the woman should just be submissive 100%, 24/7. Yeah. And listen, if that's agreed and it's consensual, then fucking by all means enjoy that. But you can't assume that that's going to be the case 100% of the time, you know. And I believe there's some men in some cultures that firmly believe that.
Yeah. I'm sure there are. I'm absolutely sure there are people that believe that. But it's like you said, if that's your thing, go for it. Like if that's your thing and it's like, and it's the two of you agree on it. And it's like, look, I don't mind being whatever you describe as like subservient or whatever. If the girl's into that and she likes it, then that's her thing. Let her do her. But if
you don't know her and you're just going to assume that you could take charge, then you're coming from a crazy fucking point of view nowadays. You know, and I'm thinking like culturally, Latinos have always said the man is in charge of the house.
Yeah, it's a very cultural thing where it's like the man is in charge of all the manly stuff, and the woman takes care of all the womanly stuff. And these clearly defined sex roles are, I mean, it's a very cultural thing, especially in the Latino culture, where it's like men do men things, women do women things, and that's it. But that, I mean, it's opening a whole nother discussion, but it will come down to what you said before, which is redefining consent and how far to go to make sure you are getting full consent.
And that's, just saying this is what I'm going to do and nobody objecting is clearly, whether anybody likes it or not, it doesn't matter. It's clearly not okay.
Yeah.
I mean, the man apologized. He himself said, "I was in the wrong." You
Yeah.
know? So yeah, it's a whole different. Yeah, there's a lot of freaking lot of freaking comments on here, which are fantastic. I mean, we appreciate everybody's input on this.
Also said something that was actually really, I want to give her a shout out because I think this is really, really true. She said a lot of us won't speak up because we feel that no one would believe us. That is a thing amongst women where it's like, it became this blame the victim mentality for so long, where it was like, well, why did you go to his room? Why were you in his car? Why were you wearing that dress? Why did you do this? And it was like, I was just existing, but I guess you're right. Cool.
But
yeah.
You know what, Gina? Along those lines, you know, everybody had a lot of support for Terry Crews, as they should, and as we all should. But nobody sat there and said, is this guy lying? Why did he wait so long? What was he wearing? Nobody said that. He said it, and we said, yes, it absolutely happened to Terry Crews. Nobody questioned it as much as women get questioned. So yes, men do fall victim to it, but I think women get put through the ringer way more, and I don't understand why, you know. But
men go through it, but like when a woman goes through it, it's almost like there are a million questions that you would never ask if it was a case where the guy, you would never ask. You'd be like, well, what were you wearing? What were you leading him on? Were you doing this? Were you flirting with him earlier in the night?
Were you drinking a lot and hanging all over him?
Why do you think there are so many girls, and people wonder why there are girls that immediately get stank with you, and like right off the bat let you know it's a no? Because any kind of kindness that can be shown to the wrong guy is like a signal.
That is crazy.
It's a crazy, complicated way that women have to watch our behavior. Because God, you have one slip up, and all of a sudden, if something terrible were to happen to you and you were assaulted, somehow it's your fault. Somehow, somewhere, someone's going to hear your story and go, well, here's your list of questions to make sure, because these things don't just happen. Like, nobody's just a terrible person that does this or misreads signals. Clearly, it was something you did on your part, you know?
Right. Yeah, listen, it's a really heavy loaded topic.
It's such a heavy loaded topic, and I know there are people that are like definitely like weighing in. So many of the people are like weighing in on this and writing in, and I really appreciate you guys weighing in. And some of the really funny comments. Let's read one from Tina. I'm a real thick chick, and I've had dudes try stuff and say to me, I'm a great looking guy and you're fat, so no one will believe you. I beat his ass down and told him, believe that.
Oh my God, Tina Garza out in Detroit. What's up, Mija? How you doing?
Shout out to you. Shout out to you, Tina. Let them know. But there are guys that would say stuff like that, like, oh, you're fat, no one would believe you. No one would believe I would even touch you. No, you know, there are guys that, you know, Hooter, you might be an angel, but there are not good guys out there. I'm not going to let your boyish innocence make you believe that everyone is as sweet and good-natured as you are.
Look, maybe just everyone's going to have to make sex tapes, you know? That way you could see.
Your solutions make no sense.
Yeah, that way you could see that you're both, you know, it's a consensual thing.
How do you know? Right, even though the camera's in the room, you weirdo.
Nice. Yeah, dude. So listen. So yeah, again, redefining it, making sure, and we'll do that in the closing thoughts. We'll talk about that one. Let's change gears a little bit. Hooter wanted to bring out a little lighter topic because this is really heavy. So let's just change gears a little bit. And go ahead, Hooter.
You guys ready to shift gears, dude?
Let's shift.
All right. Hit the clutch. Nice.
All right. Can you hit the clutch, please?
The goddamn holidays are coming, okay?
Oh, Lord.
Well, let's talk about gifts. The different levels of gifts, what kind of gifts to give, and what to do when you receive, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you, what are you doing?
For like couples,
Jeremy?
yeah. It's like your first Christmas
What am I doing
as a
Jeremy?
man and as a
Oh,
husband.
You know what?
Jeremy?
You know what I'm doing for Jeremy this year. I'm kidding. I'm gonna probably get. I mean, I try to figure out something that he wouldn't get for himself, and then I try to like secretly like get it for him, or do something sentimental that I know that he'll love, like maybe a trip that'll mean something to him, or like just something that is personal. I don't like to go for the obvious, because most people, what I obviously want, I can get for myself. You know what I mean? Okay. So it's like, if I want it, I'm going to get it myself. So I know how I am. So I appreciate gifts that are from the heart. That means something. So I like to give gifts from the heart.
That's awesome. That's beautifully said, Gina.
Melissa said, try to make him a baby. I am not trying to get this man a baby right now.
Everybody's getting a pint of wild turkey from me. What's up, Rhonda, Mikey?
So listen, gifts, what kind of gifts? Do you give gifts? Like,
Sorry?
I said, do you even give gifts? Like, I don't even know, like, how y'all's, like, does Hooter give gifts? I can't see Hooter being a gift-giving person.
He shops last minute.
Yeah, that's, he looks like that guy. Yeah. You're so that guy that picks a scented candle from the 99-cent store and be like, oh, I love you so much, babe.
So fucking funny, because there's a lot of relationships and there's a lot of couples that just started dating like 3 months ago, you know, and now Christmas is coming.
That's too much pressure.
And that gift, like, what do you give? Do you give an expensive gift? Do you give a thoughtful gift? Do you give this gift? And then if you give something that is not as you know, valuable or as expensive as somebody else gave you, are you like a dick in the relation? It's like it's like a crazy thing with like, it's your first holiday together as a couple, I think.
Yeah. I mean, you have to, I mean, obviously it helps to know the person. Like, I used to hate when I would get gifts from guys and it was like, you know, they'd give me something that I've never spoken about, never said I liked. And I'd be like, you just picked out some random thing and put it in a box. Like, it meant nothing to just do it. You did it for just the sake of getting a present. It's like, I'd rather not get anything then, because what's the point?
I think if like you guys don't even know what you are, like boyfriend or girlfriend or dating or whatever the hell, like if there's no label there, then go to dinner or something. That's too much pressure to go look for something for somebody who you don't even know what they are for you.
Yeah, looking for a gift for somebody that you don't really know, that you just started dating and you just kind of like, you're feeling for them, but you don't really know their likes. You don't even know their anything. And so, yeah, that is a lot of pressure. So everybody out there that's in a relationship, holy shit, man. If they're a drinker, get them a bottle of wine. If they're a pothead, get them a pot, get them a grinder, you know, get them something that they're going to like. That's my suggestion for
Angel Lafonte, dude. Good suggestion, bro.
What do you say?
Said, stop stressing, call it off before Christmas, and get all pedo.
Nice.
And get all drunk, dude. You got it figured out, bro.
Did you see what Bowie put?
What did Bowie put?
Wife gets a dishwasher and Sancha gets a nice watch.
Wife gets a dishwasher and Sancha gets a nice watch. Dude, Bowie's so full of it, but we like you when you show up, Bowie. Thanks for showing up, even though you're full of shit.
You full of shit. What's up?
You're so Bowie. Listen, these are great. Listen, like I said, so much going on, Gina. Thank you for all your input, and like, let's have some closing thoughts, because it's I know it's you're in the East Coast, right?
Yeah. Closing thoughts. I'm about to go get my husband a gift. You know what I'm saying? I just love getting that look from Hooter, because he's like, gross, Mom. All right.
Hit me with a close. You want to go first, Hooter?
No, let Gina.
All right.
He's like, I want Gina to stop talking right now. Okay, so let's do like a quick sort of closing comment summary. Consent. We're going to have to redefine consent just based on what's going on in the media and based on everything. Guys, be careful. Have a contract. Have some kind of verbal agreement. do a little consent video where it's like, please tell me you're here consensually, you are not under any distress, although that would look mad suspect if you do a consent video and you're forcing her to say that she feels comfortable. So be careful how you go about your consent videos. I'm just saying. And in terms of gifts, I think Hooter's right. If you know the status of your relationship, you sort of have to be comfortable enough with somebody and know where you're at. If this is like a casual thing, you are getting a gift card to like TGI Fridays and a 99-cent card. But if you are my man and we've been together for a minute, I'm going to get you something that I know you're into, like tickets to a baseball game or whatever I know is your thing. Because, you know, if you're going to give a gift, you might as well give it from the heart.
I love that.
I'm gonna pause.
Again, you know, just to echo what you said, redefining consent. Just because you asked doesn't make it okay anymore, or ever. It's you better be freaking clear going forward. And again, I think that there's a lot of people who have assumed in the past, and that all needs to stop. I mean, we need to start being more clear about our wants, our needs, our desires, and where we're going with it. And if you do have to break out a video to say, hey, I'm into this shit, then so be it. Because otherwise it's gonna be somebody's word against another person's word, and that's never good. So a video is unless again you're forcing somebody, say it. But that. And shopping, dude, don't stress out about it, man. Get somebody's, if just tell them, hey, listen, man, what do you want? What do you want? And the whole surprise element, I think, is overrated, because it's like, oh my God, I can't believe you got me this. That's great if they like it. But if you picked wrong, then it's all bad. If you know what somebody wants, then it's a lot easier. It cuts down you know exactly where to go shop. Yeah. Hey, that's my suggestion for the holiday shopping.
You'd be like, Gina likes
Black Friday,
give her Whole Foods gift card.
You know what? Whole Foods gift cards are a great gift because that shit's expensive. You can't eat healthy.
Man, why do you think I said
no way.
If anybody's listening, Christmas is coming, and I like Whole Foods.
Hooter? All right, dude, look. I'm going to start selling contracts. Consensual contracts for both female and male. Get at me. 2, do not stress out. Don't go waiting in lines, dude. Fuck all that. Don't go to the mall. You're going to drive yourself crazy. Go on vacation instead.
Ooh, vacation gifts.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Just go somewhere else. Don't
make memories.
Yeah, don't deal with goddamn lines, dude. You're going to go to the mall and make yourself crazy. You're going to get somewhere, they're going to say, oh, we've sold out. And then you have to go to another goddamn mall. The parking sucks. Don't fucking do it. Go somewhere.
Get a cruise. Get on a cruise and check out Gina performing.
Nice. Yeah, watch me perform on a cruise ship. Ay, santo.
Listen, everybody that tuned in, thank you so very much. Gina Brillon, anything you want to plug other than your cruise ship that you're going on?
Oh gosh, golly, people. I'm gonna be all over the place. I'm actually going back to Oxnard in December 1st through 3rd. I'll be at the Levity Live in Oxnard. Good. So if you're out in California, and care to come out to Oxnard, I will be there.
Levity Live in Oxnard, the first weekend of December. Catch Gina Brillon. December 11th, me and Hooter have the Yo podcast holiday extravaganza at Harvell's in Long Beach. Check out our Facebook page for more information on that. Have a fantastic week, a fantastic weekend. Gina, thank you so much. Like always, much love.
Thanks,
say hello to Jeremy.
I will. Bye, guys. I love you both. Even Hooter. I'm going to go make out with my husband.
Whee!